So Trump tweets that they should lessen the sentence recommendation. They lessen the sentence recommendation. Eric Swalwell, remember him? He's you. Remember, he's the guy who said, I am you? Well, he is he, and here he is. He's got a great idea on how to handle this.
I'm very concerned that the independence of prosecutors, the ability of judges to just weigh the facts and the evidence is eroding, that the president's taken a wrecking ball to that. And he was just impeached for that. We're not going to stop holding him accountable. We've learned when you hold him accountable, you can actually stop the corruption, whether he's removed or not. And ultimately, it's going to be for the voters to judge in November.
Might you impeach him over this, over Roger Stone and the sentencing?
You know, we're not going to take our options off the table. We don't wake up in the morning wanting to impeach him. You know, we want to work with him on prescription drugs, background checks, and infrastructure. But we're not going to let him just, you know, torch this democracy because he thinks that he's been let off once and we're not going to do something about it.
Hey, we're lowering the tone of the show a little bit here. You know, these guys never learn. I mean, Trump just gained 10 percentage points because of their last stupid impeachment thing. So let's take a look at this. How do we feel about this? Because, you know, Matt Margolis at PJ Media writes a piece about all the times that Barack Obama helped out a pal. I mean, starting with the Black Panther Party. Remember that Black Panther guy was standing outside a voting booth intimidating people with a baton and all this. And Eric Holder said, well, I can't prosecute him because he's one of my people. Like, this is the Attorney General talking about my people, meaning black people, not the American people. Holder himself, Eric Holder, was stonewalled on Fast and Furious, and Obama stepped up and gave him executive privilege. The worst one, the one that was ugly, was the one in 2009, Barack Obama illegally fired Gerald Walpin, the Inspector General for the Corporation for National and Community Service. Walpin's crime was that he was investigating Obama's friend and donor, Kevin Johnson, who had misused federal grant money by funneling it to his personal nonprofit group and paying for political activity and using it to pay hush money to underage girls he sexually abused. So that was a good one. And of course, Hillary Clinton was the big one. She never got prosecuted for that. So Obama did a lot of this stuff. And of course, he was scandal-free, we have to remember. So that is absolutely true. And when they started, some of people were calling, I think Nancy Pelosi was calling for Barr to be fired, and Trey Gowdy responded to that to Marsha McCallum on Fox.
Prosecutors don't sentence people. Presidents don't sentence people. Fox News commentators don't sentence people. Judges do. And we give them life tenure so they can make these calls. But the notion that Bill Barr should resign is about the dumbest damn thing I have ever heard. If a United States senator really believes that the head of the Department of Justice cannot weigh in on what a proportional sentence is, I mean, there are child pornographers who don't get 9 years, Martha. There are people who rob banks that don't get 9 years. So let the judge decide. I think 2 or 3 years is about right.
But I think we have to say here, in all honesty, if Trump had just not done the tweet, if he just kept his mouth shut for one lousy time, Barr was going to do this anyway. I really believe that. Bill Barr seems to me a straight shooter. I think he would have done this anyway. You know, I remember being in New York and a guy got in an elevator and he was listening to when Obama was president and Obama was talking on a TV above the bar, and he got in the elevator and he looked at me and he said, every time
you're a lying dog-faced pony soldier.
He says, every time Obama opens his mouth, the stock market drops. I get it. You're a smart guy. Shut up. The same thing is true with Trump sometimes, you know. I get it. You're a tough guy. You fight the powers. You fight the press. You fight the Democrats. You're not afraid. Sometimes, just sometimes, you gotta shut up. I don't believe that this is corruption, but it looks like corruption, and it shouldn't. Before you go, one last thing. Hit the subscribe button so that you stay up to date on all our content.